Yes, tonight is the continuation of what we talked about last time. I think we tried to go into depth last time, but it was actually introduced the previous home session. It is such a um, I would say it's a very important topic that many philosophers, many philosophies, many religious um, bodies are grappling with and trying to give an answer to. Mm. So since it's important enough, and I think misunderstanding it creates a lot of problems, and that's the reason why I wanted to address it. So is it working now, Cheryl? No? Okay. All right. Since you guys usually give me a few minutes when I'm late, and today I accidentally happen to be on time. Maybe that's how I should do it next time. Instead of trying to be on time, I should just accidentally be on time. Uh, so we wait maybe another 2 minutes or so. Make sure your tea is hot. Make sure you're sitting nice and comfy. Did before we even go proceed, well, Nizam unfortunately his schedule uh, does not allow will not allow him to be able to be the host tonight. So we're gonna be without Nizam. Here we are gathering. Yeah, wanted to ask the this topic that we are addressing and what we have touched upon so far. Uh, does anyone have any questions before we even start? Tonight is not going to be much of a lecture. It's going to be more meditation with little lecture, and I hope a lot of discussions and questions.
I have one question
Yeah.
for maybe whenever you want to answer.
Mhm.
What do we do when another being's suffering causes us suffering and we're derailed and traumatized and triggered, and then we can't deal with that other person and being anymore because we need to deal with ourselves? Like, I just want to know what the Buddhist approach is to something that I've experienced and am currently experiencing, but I just am curious, like how we approach
Yeah.
boundaries and
Mhm. Oh yeah. Um, Immediately what I thought about is what Master Shantideva said. Master Shantideva is considered to be the uh, the most reliable source on how a bodhisattva should behave. And he said you should uh, basically if begin with carrots and what was it? Carrots and peas, something like that. Meaning begin at your strength. Begin exactly where you are. You're not the practice is not go out and be a bodhisattva in a sense of go rescue everyone no matter who they are, no matter what the situation is. The practice is to strengthen yourself, make yourself strong enough so that you can actually be of service. It's not to drag yourself into someone else's problem. That is not that is not the Bodhisattva has that kind of a compassion that they're willing to exchange their situation with someone else. But if you're not at a position of strength, there isn't really anything to exchange. What you're doing is adding to the person's suffering and adding to your own suffering. The thing is, you be in a position of strength so that you can exchange if your strength is not enough to pull the person out. So um, you're witnessing someone who's close to you who's suffering, and their suffering is instead of as you as a witness of that suffering, instead of being able to find strength and resource to pull them out, their suffering is so strong that they're pulling you in. Then no one is being helped. As a matter of fact, both of you are now in need of of help. So the thing for you to do while you have your strength is to the other expression that they use in the Lamrim tradition is go get strength. But I mean, they say it more crudely. They say go eat the meat first. That is, eat the food first. Just like when you're on an airplane, before you help your child, which would be the instinct of the mother is to help the child. They say before you do that, make sure you do it from a place of strength because they will need your strength. So put your oxygen mask on first and then help them. Because if they are in need of you and you are weak, then you both perish. So the advice of eat the meat first, that is strengthen yourself first. The advice of start with peas and carrots, start with where you actually have strength, and then constantly being asked to do what you can to get the strength. All these is telling us that when you're witnessing someone suffering and you're touched by that suffering and you want to do something about it, the compassionate thing to do is to be at your strength so that you are not both dragged into that suffering where now both of you are suffering. And sometimes, I guess, in all practical purposes, um, uh, the difficult thing to do, difficult because it is what it seems to be going against compassion. It seems to be again going against caring, but it's actually the wise mode of compassion to actually stay away from that person. If the presence of the person saps you of energy, makes you not capable of helping yourself and not capable of helping the other person, then the compassionate thing to do is to stay away. Just like if it's a material thing or a situation like you are weak when you go to that place. So don't go to that place. Even though there may be people there who may be in need and in help in need, and your compassion wants to help them. But the thing to do is not the compassionate thing to do is not to go there and be weak and you adding yourself to the trouble that's there. If the compassionate thing to do is to stay away, strengthen yourself. Go find someone else who may have the strength to help. The Bodhisattva is not required only to be the only one who always help. In the sense of using your own resources, but rather the resources that you have at that moment, use it. If the resource that you have is, I know someone who has the strength, I will make that connection with that person to come help. That is the compassionate thing to do. Rather than you have no strength, you don't know how to lift the thing, and you're going to try to lift it, and you end up breaking yourself and breaking the person who's under that. Okay. I hope that addressed the question somewhat.
Yeah, thank you so much. I know that we all share things to a degree, but I guess I'm asking that because I've been seeing a lot of people suffering and they're resorting to like drugs and escape and really negative things in my life. And I feel like, I'm a very strong person to a degree, as is my partner, and usually we're here together, like, and people find refuge in that. But I guess it's also like now I've experienced something where I feel messed up and I feel like destabilized and I feel
Mhm.
like I don't know what the path is. So that helps a lot because I think I did take on more than I have
Mhm.
capability for,
Yeah.
So in hindsight, I can see it. And hearing you say it, it's like, okay,
And the thing to remember is that some at times turning away, the intention, the motivation is selfishness, and we don't want to behave. We don't want to be moved. We don't want to behave from that place of selfishness. So we may stay in the situation or not extract ourselves from the situation because we think that would be a selfish thing to do. Like, I should suffer with you, kind of thing. But the thing to remember is turning away is also the compassionate thing to do when it is what is will be when it is the thing that will help in that situation. So remind yourself that you're doing it not just out of selfishness, selfish interest, but it is the compassionate thing to do. And that will help you reconnect with the strength that you need. It's like I'm noticing myself becoming weak, and I'm letting that become the motivator of my action. Rather than saying, I'm witnessing something that needs help and I do not have the strength within me, I should go find that strength. And that's compassion. Okay? And going to find that strength means you have to leave. You have to stay away from that situation. All right. Thank you for starting that. So let's begin with the way we start. Begin with a meditation, and then we do meditation exercises and about the topic, a little talk, and if you have questions, and we'll go over those questions. Form the clear conscious intention that you're going to enter meditation rather than impose on your system what meditation is supposed to be, but rather allow the system, the different dimensions, the different parts of you to respond from their own understanding of what meditation is. The impulse to enter meditation is not necessarily coming from one aspect of you. It could be many aspects or all the aspects. So let them participate. So the part of you that feel like an agent, let it hold the intention to enter meditation, and that's it. And let it feel open and responsive to the different dimensions as they are responding to the intention. Hold the intention, feel the openness, and direct the openness towards the physical body. Be aware of its response to your intention to enter meditation. When you feel a certain need to make a certain adjustment physically, know that it's that communication taking place. The body's communicating. Make the adjustments mindfully, consciously, until the body tells you, yes, this is it. You feel a sense of you feel comfort, you feel stability, you feel a sense of confidence arising from the body itself. Your legs are comfortable, stable, torso upright and yet comfortable, giving you a sense of alertness. Shoulders are even, arms resting in such a way that as soon as your mind goes to your arms, to your hands, immediately the posture, the gesture reminds you that you are meditating and takes you back to meditation. Head and neck are centered, mouth, teeth, tongue resting in their natural places. And gently come to the breath. Let the eyes rest wherever the eyes feel that it is resting for meditation. Close, slightly open, halfway open, looking straight ahead. And while you're bringing your attention to the breath, you're not trying to control it. You're not trying to make the inhalation longer or shorter. You're not trying to make the exhalation longer or shorter. Simply observing what is naturally taking place. And that's the thing, what is naturally taking place. The natural placement of the mouth. Be in contact with that sense of natural, connecting with what is natural. Be in contact with the natural flow of the breath. And begin to notice the slight, subtle transformations taking place. How consciousness itself is slowly becoming more subtle, being able to perceive subtle and more subtle phenomena. The heart beating, the pulses, the inner sensations within the body. And eventually there's a slight shift in the breath. Take that as an indication of the alignment of the different parts, the physical, the emotional, the intellectual, and so forth. And be ready to stabilize this entering into meditation with 3 conscious breaths. Find a place of resting for attention, either the calmness or the pleasantness or the inner sensations to whichever sense that they are appearing, whether to inner sense of sight, inner sense of hearing, inner tactile sensation, whatever it may be for you, you can rest there and gently, fully through the nose, breathe in, hold it, and release. And as you release, feel yourself going deeper into the signs, deeper into the calm, deeper into the pleasantness, deeper into the signs of clarity and radiance. The sensations are becoming stronger. And at the end of the exhalation, just stay, leave the breath alone, let it return on its own, but stay in that new calm, that new pleasantness, stay in that new vividness, that new clarity, that new luminosity, where the inner sensations are stronger, more vivid, more palpable. So staying there, again, for the second breath, gently, fully breathe in, hold, and as you're holding it, strengthen your determination, strengthen, clarify your motivation, and release. And as you release, feel yourself going even deeper into the calm, deeper into the pleasantness, deeper into clarity, deeper into radiance. See and feel attention becoming more and more collected, more and more collected. At the end of the exhalation, just relax, leave the breath alone, and stay and rejoice, witnessing the new depth of the calm, the new depth of the pleasantness, the new depth of the clarity and radiance. Staying with the sign, gently again for the third time. Breathe in, hold, release. Feel yourself going deeper, deeper into the calm, deeper into the pleasantness, deeper into the clarity, deeper into radiance. Stay there, leave the breath alone. There's a part of us that is like an authenticator. It validates what is truth and what is not truth. Be aware, feel the sense of that present within you. And when I ask a question, when you ask a question, feel yourself turning towards that presence within you. Like the way we do, like when someone asks you a question and you're trying to remember and then you look a certain way, as if you're looking in the direction where the answer will be found. So do that totally within. So I'm going to ask you, where is your fundamental nature? And feel that part of you that feels it knows, and feel the part of you that is turning towards that part that feels it knows, and just stay in that direction. And just be quiet. You may notice your mind creating an answer. If you notice that, relax. Tell that part of your mind, it's okay. Thank you, but just okay. You can relax and just stay in that space, in that direction, towards that direction where you feel that part of you feels that's where the answer is going to pop from that direction, from that place. And the authenticator is ready to authenticate and validate, yes, this is true. Stay in that direction. And feel the sincerity of that wish. So that space that you're looking at, it is precisely space. It looks like physical space, but you know there's more in there. All answers arise from within that space. And it looks like physical space, like nothing. And let that sincerity mold and shape that invisible space. So it takes, so consider that that space-like looking appearance to be, this is the fundamental nature. But I do not now have the capacity, the instruments, the sense instruments to be able to recognize and notice exactly what I'm seeing. But so it appears like nothing. So the sincerity, wishing to have an experience of knowing, shapes that fundamental space into a bright presence, a presence that you feel absolute trust in. It could take the form of someone you know that you trust. It could take the form of an ideal appearance, an ideal person, some angel, some deity that you feel a connection, a trust, absolute trust in. And when that appearance is there, you know it is your sincerity having shaped your own fundamental nature to an appearance to help you get your answer. So when that appearance is there, bright, shining, radiating love and care that you feel in a palpable way, you relax. Knowing you can trust this presence, you relax. You feel great reverence for this presence and you relax. And you have absolute confidence that it will give you the answer. And you feel grateful. And as you express that gratitude, you relax. And perhaps in less than a fraction of a moment, you felt, the answer was flashed, but I missed it. But no need to be anxious. Just keep relaxing. Keep relaxing. Feel the trust. The answer will be given. Feel reverence towards the source of the answer. Feel gratitude and keep relaxing. So keep that attitude, feeling you are in the direction, you're facing a direction that you instinctively feel answer will emerge. And you're looking at this space, that is, you make space for the answer to appear, and you're not filling it with anything else. And when you feel your mind trying to fill the space, tell your mind, relax. It's okay. You can relax. And every once in a while, you may feel something coming from your gut. And as soon as you turn your attention towards it, it seems to vanish. So if you feel something coming from your gut, don't turn towards your gut, but rather stay in the direction that your instinct told you you will find the answer will appear. Stay in that direction. Keep yourself in that direction. And the answer may feel like it's here, but it is veiled. Just relax. relax. Keep looking at that empty space, and your instinct told you it is not just empty, it's not just nothing. It's just that we are so unaccustomed to see what's in there, it appears to us as nothing. So keep relaxing. Witness your very consciousness becoming more subtle, more joyful, more luminous. And whenever you feel that uh, we're not going anywhere, bring your attention back to that appearance shaped by your own sincerity, an appearance whose very perception gives you great inspiration, great trust, great reverence, and you relax. Okay, get ready to come out of the meditation. So remember, so take a bearing, take a like a inventory of the experience. My body feels this way. Energetically, I feel this way. My mind is behaving this way. And other dimensions of perception that you have with the meditation, just like take a snapshot and get ready to come out of the meditation. Gently, fully take a nice deep breath. Hold, release. And as you release, let your senses reconnect with your immediate surroundings. Feel the temperature of your room, feel the feeling of your clothing, hear the different sounds, feel, see. Okay. All right. Uh, so we are going to continue with the meditation throughout this evening. And I will sort of like, we will talk a little bit and then go further in the meditation. Um, First, I want to talk about the question, fundamental reality, fundamental nature. What exactly does that mean? What exactly is that pointing to? Well, many philosophers, many yogis, many people from the past have said, oh, this is what it is. So just me saying this is what it is not going to help. Okay. There's the libraries of what the answer is supposed to be. Rather than uh, read exactly what they say, or this is the answer, let's instead look at what process these different realized beings went through for them to say, oh, okay, this is it. Okay. And they were able to make some sort of demonstration about what they have, what they found. But before we completely dismiss what they have said, but we will let's talk about something that they all seem to say in common. They say it is prior, not prior, using the word prior gives it a temporal nature, as if there's a point in time that it is subject to time, right? But rather what they say, it is beyond space and time. So whatever you can think of, usually we can think of them somehow within space and time. Whether we are imagining them as in space and time. In within space, you have different dimensions. You have all your different senses are connected to some sort of space and time. Okay, so this fundamental nature is beyond space and time. And also what is within space and time is a way of perception called conception. And it is also said to be, it is beyond concepts. Okay, so whatever can fit within space and time also is conceptual. Now, we are mostly familiar with space and time. We are mostly familiar with concepts. So to have an experience that is not within space and time, to have an experience that is beyond concept, not that we do not have these experiences, we do have these experiences every once in a while, but um, they happen so infrequently that we're not able to uh, remember them with the same vividness that we remember things within space and time, things that are conceptual. Okay. So when these teachers who've had these experiences that are beyond space and time, that are beyond concepts, and they have to use space and time, they have to use concepts to describe them. So they use words that are conceptual. They use things, phenomena, experiences that are found within space and time that have qualities about them that are very close to the non-conceptual, very close to beyond space and time. And they use words like luminous. They use words like void, like when you physically see space, that perception that we have, that we are able to say, I'm seeing space, right? They use that experience, they use that concept. And also they use another concept, they say bliss. But these are things that we are most familiar with within space and time. These are things that are most familiar with within conceptual frameworks. So we are trying to use these concepts to go beyond them. When they say it's luminous, there's something about luminosity. You could say there is a non-space time attribute about luminosity that if we can connect with it, luminosity will help us get there. There's something about bliss that is somewhat beyond space-time. There's something about bliss that is somewhat beyond concepts, that if we can connect with that aspect of bliss, it will take us there. There is something about physical space. If we are able to connect with it, it will connect us to that thing beyond space-time. It will connect us to that thing that is beyond concepts. And the reason I'm beginning this way is that, yes, in the beginning, we want to make a connection with those qualities as we know them: luminosity, radiance, bliss, purity, spaciousness. Okay. But don't think or don't get stuck with those concepts, because that's what they are. They are concepts. They are they are very powerful concepts that can help us get to where we want to get to, that is beyond time, space, beyond concepts. Okay. So you will, when you touch those experiences, in the experience itself, space will not make sense. Space-time will not make sense. Any concept that you can think of, no matter how sublime the concept is, it will not make sense there. That's why, if you remember the Hot Sutra, in emptiness, there is no this, there is no that, there is no this, there is no liberation, there is no suffering, there is no end of suffering, there is no cause of suffering, there is no enlightenment in emptiness. Because all these are concepts, all these are things, conceptual tools used to help us to grab something that is beyond them. Okay. And within the conceptual framework, when we say absence of this, and immediately we think of presence of that. Within conceptual framework, like when you hear in emptiness, there is no suffering, we think of the conceptual opposite of suffering being present there. That is not what is meant by in emptiness, there is no suffering. And when you hear in emptiness, there is no freedom from suffering, what we are holding in our mind is the conceptual framework of freedom from suffering. Oh, if there is no freedom from suffering, then there must be suffering. Or if there is no suffering and no freedom from suffering, it must be some sort of blend, some sort of uh, what's that thing? Indifference, some sort of indifference. And the way we understand indifference, it is within a conceptual framework. It is a very boring thing. And the boring thing is just another way of saying it's suffering. Okay, boredom is suffering. Indifference is a kind of suffering. So there's really suffering and no suffering, and different measures, different degrees of suffering. And that thing that seems to be neither suffering, neither suffering or neither pleasure, neither bliss, it seems to be something that is in a class by itself, but it's really a kind of suffering. Okay, so when we're trying to conceptually, we can't help but to try to cut, because it's like we come with gloves to a situation, and when someone hands you the thing, it's the glove that's going to be touching it first. In order for you to touch it with your own hands, you have to take off the glove. In order for us to really grasp what is being said with these concepts, we have to go into a non-conceptual way of perceiving. We have to take ourselves into an experience where when we come out of it, we come out, wait a minute, how much time went by? Was it 5 minutes or 5 hours? I'm not sure. I'm completely confused. The reason that you're confused is because it's not that there was an actual 5 minutes or an actual 5 hours. You were in a non-temporal space. And now you're trying to conceptualize it. And the only way to conceptualize things in terms of time is 5 minutes or 5 hours or 6 minutes or 7 minutes. So that's when that comes in. Or was it 5 minutes or was it 5 hours? It was beyond that. It was neither 5 minutes nor 5 hours. It had nothing to do with time. Okay? And when you come out of that experience, when you're in the conceptual framework comes back again, then immediately there seems to be the conceptualization taking place. Okay? So this non-conceptual, non-space, non-time experience is what everyone is referring to as that's the fundamental nature. Fundamental nature of what? Everything that we experience. It's fundamental nature. And you have um so gradual teaching taking place. And when you're about to get to the graduate level, and so you have all these things already, and now you're at the graduate level, and now there's more summarial presentations of things, and you're told, oh yeah, your su the suffering existence and nirvanic experience and samsaric experience, or they both arise from that fundamental space. Wait a minute, you mean suffering as we know it arise from that fundamental space? What is that fundamental space? Oh, if we want to use concepts, the closest concepts to use is luminosity, bliss, voidness. Wait a minute. Suffering comes from bliss? It doesn't make sense. Remember, the bliss that they're using is just a conceptual framework. It is not bliss the way we understand it, but bliss is very close to explaining it. It is beyond whatever we can conceptualize. And of course, in that space, even though they say in emptiness, there is no suffering, there's no cause of suffering, there's no ending of suffering. But the state of being in that emptiness is a blissful experience. Okay. It's when you say, you could say, while you're abiding in it, there's no seeking to identify it. There's no need seeking to label it, because label is conceptual. But a little bit coming out of it, without entirely coming out of it, the label you can give it is bliss. But when you go back in it, the label bliss makes no sense. Okay? So because of these, what you might call um, what you call it, innate qualities, you could say, the innate qualities of the fundamental nature. Because of these innate qualities, uh, it is said in a somewhat what would you call that? It's like pointing directly at the fundamental nature, but using conceptual words. Then they would say things that sound absolutely insane, that the the an existence that is a suffering existence is actually fundamentally just bliss. So another way to look at this is um, um, I would think of water, right? Water can appear as air. Water can appear as liquid. Water can appear as solid, right? It's all water. If you know that it's all water, then you're not uh, bothered when it's appearing as air. You're not bothered when it's appearing as solid, as ice. You're not bothered when it's appearing as liquid if you want it to appear as a solid. You're not bothered by these appearances because you know fundamentally what it is. So when you're told suffering's ultimate nature is bliss, then when you really understand that, when there's a suffering experience is taking place, it's not that you do nothing about it. Doing nothing about it is you don't really understand it. But rather than being thrown off by it, rather than making it creating further suffering for you, you understand that fundamentally it is bliss. Then you connect with that aspect of it instead, then you will have the experience that they talk about what we call self-liberating. Okay. Self-liberating meaning the liberation is not coming from outside of the experience. Within the experience itself, liberation is achieved. And this is the reason why the great yogis are not bothered by experiences that they're having at the moment, because they are always constantly connected to its fundamental nature. And if what is happening on the surface is not helpful, they can self-liberate. Okay. All right. So self-liberate. You're going to do a little exercise. Okay. And it is not to say to ignore your suffering, to pretend that it is not there, but actually acknowledging it. Because remember with the water and the vapor and the ice, right? When it is ice and you want it to be vapor, you don't ignore the fact that there is ice there. You acknowledge that this is water appearing as ice. This is your fundamental nature of bliss appearing as suffering. And because it appears as ice doesn't make it stop being water. Just because it appears as suffering doesn't make it stop being fundamentally bliss. Okay, all right, let's get ready for the exercise. And after the exercise, you can ask question. Okay. And you're gonna do this in cycles. Cycles meaning you're gonna repeat it over and over and over again. You're gonna spend like just a fraction of a moment trying to touch something, and don't spend too much time where imagination creeps in and starts to create experiences. But you want it to be more spontaneous. Okay. So go back to, remember the snapshot, take it back, take it out of your pocket, wherever you put it. The snapshot you took of your meditation, take it out. And begin to remind yourself, this is how the body felt. And as you begin to remember that's how the body felt, you begin to experience the body re-experiencing it. That's how I felt energetically. And then you begin to feel it energetically. That's how I was emotionally. That's how I was mentally. That's how I was in my inner sense, subjective self. And then you begin to re-experience it. And just to stabilize, you take one deep breath, hold, release. And as you release, feel yourself going deeper into that same experience, physically, energetically, emotionally, mentally. and be aware of the inner sensations reappearing, the vision, if that was your inner experience, the inner sound, and let those be a reminder. Let them be something to help to confidently tell you, hey, you've returned to that inner space. Remember, we turn our direction, inner direction, towards the space where we feel answers come out. When you're trying to remember something and then you find yourself turning towards some inner space where you feel confident the answer will come out. So turn towards that direction. What is my fundamental nature? And you feel tension in the body, relax. Feel tension energetically, relax. Feel tension emotionally, relax. Feel tension mentally, relax. You're acclimating yourself for what is already present. The water doesn't go away when it becomes ice. It is the water itself that is there. This body, this very experience, this very confusion, this very not knowing, it is itself the fundamental nature, shaped into confusion. But you know better. Confusion is not it's not your true nature, but rather it is the shaping of the fundamental nature, which is itself, when we use words to describe it, we say bliss. When we try to describe it, we say vastness. When we try to describe it, we say luminous. So when we begin to touch those experiences, that's we are getting close. We haven't reached there yet, but we're getting close. So relax, acclimate. Remember the appearance that your sincerity shaped your fundamental nature into, an appearance that just perceiving it inspires you, makes you feel connected to something meaningful. Perhaps it's Manjushri, it's Avalokiteshvara, it's Tara, it's Mary, it's whoever. It's your grandpa, your grandma, it's Lobsang Tarchin, whoever, whose appearance, just seeing them, you feel connected to something meaningful. So let your fundamental nature take that appearance. Become acquainted with it. Feel the sense of inspiration it's giving you, the trust you feel, the love you feel emanating from it, the caring that you feel emanating from it, the safety you feel emanating from it. And keep relaxing, feeling safe. And it with a great delight in its face. And if it's some sort of abstract appearance, you feel delight emanating from it towards you. And it becomes brighter, 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 fusing with pure space itself. So that space itself becomes light. And you feel yourself in an infinite sea of light. Then it's it wants you to follow it in terms of continue to perceive it. And the very perception of it is a journey. It's going to take you to perceive something fundamental. So keep relaxing, keep relaxing, keep relaxing. And as you relax, the very space, which is all light, begins to, the light begins to be space, pure space again. Stop, do it all over again. The presence, space is light. Now light is space. Your awareness is all that is left. Stop. Keep doing it. Don't spend too much time unless you can't stop. The inspirational presence. All space is light. Light is now pure space. And now it's just awareness. Do it again. Do it again. Remember, the exercise is not to visualize, but using visualization to get to an experience. When it's just pure awareness, let go of everything. Let go of even perceiving. Again, again, now bring your attention back to the breath. Feel the space of the meditation. And nice breath. Release. And reconnect deliberately, feeling the room to the sense of touch, sense of hearing, sense of sight. Okay. Right. Before I continue, any questions so far?
Good evening.
Difference.
I was immediately drawn in the space here. Is it,
Oh, when
is
you're
it,
looking towards in a direction, that's where you felt drawn towards.
yes.
Hmm. Okay.
Is it the good place to go or is it
No, that's the place you were drawn to go to. That's where you should go.
okay?
Yeah. Someone else may have been drawn to go somewhere else. Okay. Yeah. Remember, it's intuition guiding you here. Okay. You let it guide you. All right. Um, one thing I feel like I need to mention, and we're going to do an exercise. We're going to do the next exercise very fast. Is with self-liberating. Okay, an exercise with self-liberating. Um, Now we live in, we exist a world where there's suffering and there's trouble and things like that. And attending this is actually, how do we deal with them? That's what we are doing here. We are looking for ways on how do we deal with the troubles and different things that happens in our lives. How should we deal with them in a way that is effective, in a way that is actually dealing with it rather than running away from it. And everyone in some way or another is engaged in some method they believe is a way of dealing with the troubles in their lives. Okay. And if we can have that understanding when we are relating with someone, remember that whatever they're doing, no matter how stupid it is, no matter how awful it is, in a sense, they are, from their own place of conviction, dealing with a problem that they have. Okay. So if we can approach each other this way with this kind of understanding, then we make space for the other person to trust us to take our advice if our advice is actually something that they can actually benefit from, that they can benefit from. Okay. Now, um, because samsara and nirvana both uh, emerge, you could say, from this fundamental nature, from this fundamental ground. It doesn't mean when they say that when sorry, so-called great masters say they are samsara and so forth, they are illusions. They don't mean a conceptual illusion. Like when you go to attend a magic show and they do an illusion and it appears to be something, but they're doing something else, really something else. That's when they say it is an illusion, they don't mean it that way. Like there's something realer than the reality that we are experiencing. And the reality that we're experiencing is fake, and there's something real happening under. But rather, uh, uh, our experiences, our headaches, our joys, all these things are realities. And that's what fundamental nature creates. Fundamental nature creates realities, or they create experiences. And those experiences are realities. Your suffering is real. Your joy is real. But the fundamental nature of this real suffering, of this real pain, its fundamental nature is something completely different. Because it is fundamentally completely different fundamentally. In comparison to the fundamental, it is an illusion. Like in emptiness, there is no this, there is no eye, there is no ear, there is no nose, remember? In emptiness. In reference to emptiness, in reference to the fundamental, when you're speaking about the emergent, then there are illusions. That is, they are not the fundamental, they're not the actual fundamental experience. And I'm saying there are realities in the sense that it is only the fundamental nature that gives rise to realities. That is, your suffering is real, but fundamentally, it is something else. The best way to explain it is from that guy, this psychologist who said was onto something was onto something. Imagine space-time where everything happens, and imagine something outside of space-time. Whatever is in space-time is real as far as space-time is concerned. But outside of space-time, they're not real anymore. So as far as outside of space-time is concerned, space-time is an illusion. But within space-time, everything is. You could say the laws work, they function. So there's something beyond samsara, something beyond nirvana. And because of it, there can be nirvana, there can be a samsara. And it's not something that conceptually speaking, we're saying outside of space-time, as though it's over here and space-time is over there. Here is a space reference. There is a space-time reference. So try to think of something that is not spatial, is not in a direction, is not experiencing time. Okay. That's what they mean by outside space-time. And outside of our everyday experience, our everyday experience is the fundamental. It is the fundamental nature of bliss, luminosity, spaciousness that is appearing as darkness, that is appearing as limitation, that is appearing as pain. Okay? It is the fundamental nature. When you are stuck in space-time, you cannot think of anything beyond space-time. And within space-time, there's no way you can go from one star system to another star system. It is impossible. So within samsara, if you're stuck in samsara, then there's no way to have an experience beyond that. But if, as we are having our experiences, our whatever suffering that we are having, whatever experience that we're having, joy, happiness, and we are not stuck into thinking that that is the ultimate. We don't react towards it as if it is the ultimate, but rather immediately remind ourselves that there is, for lack of a better word, space, vast blissness that is molded into my present experience. My present experience is a mere appearance created by it. If I'm stuck on the appearance, then there's no way the appearance can help me. It is just an appearance. But if I can connect to that which it is molded out of, then I can self-liberate. Meaning, instead of something coming to help me out of my situation, the very situation that I'm in becomes the thing that liberates itself. Because it is made up of bliss. It is made up of vastness. It is made up of luminosity. And remember, these terms are conceptual terms for something even beyond them. But since we are in space-time, we are in conceptual world, we have to use conceptual world. We have to use concepts. Okay. All right. Now we're going to have a little experience of self-liberation. All right. Make yourself comfortable. Uh, go into your pocket, take out the snapshot of the meditation. Just by remembering, my body felt like this, and then you go into it and you start to feel it again. My mind felt like this, and as you're remembering it, you begin to re-experience it and you go into it until there's a sense of being returning into the space of meditation. There's palpable calm to a degree, a palpable pleasantness to a degree, a palpable sense of luminosity to some degree. That is, you're having experiences that are happening by themselves, and they have a certain vividness, a certain nowness to them, a certain sharpness and clarity to them. And there's a sense of your attention being less worried about venturing out, but more concerned about going in, more collected. Now that you're in the space of meditation, we'll take a nice deep breath to help us stabilize, gently, fully. Take a nice deep breath. Release. And as you release, feel yourself going in deeper into that space of calm, pleasantness, deeper into that space of clarity, radiance, deeper into that space of collected attention. And feel yourself back in that space. And this time, just feel the totality of yourself, whatever it is, whatever you're able to perceive. You don't have to see every single cell, every single atom for you to say, I'm seeing the totality of me. Whatever now feels like the totality of me, you hold that in your mind. Physically, feel energetically, the different emotions, the memories, the different experiences, your mental outlook, the totality of what you are now. And I want you with a smile, tell yourself, all this is molded fundamental nature. This body is bliss. This body is limitlessness. And these emotions, no matter how they are felt, whether they are pleasant or unpleasant, they are the molded, fundamental nature molded. how you feel your mind to be, the freedoms, the limitations, the freedoms molded fundamental nature, the limitations folded fundamental nature. So you have a sense of an overview of the entirety of you, all the different appearances, all the different dimensions. They're all but molded fundamental nature. Now think of a problem that's in your life. No matter how real it feels in a sense of it is something other than fundamental nature. It is just itself. Your emotional, how you hold it emotionally, how you hold it energetically, how it sits with you, how it makes you feel physically. How it tries to tell you that it is no, I am, yeah, everything else may be fundamental nature, but I'm not fundamental nature. I am just problem. And then make a comparison. Just like my body is fundamental nature molded, this problem is fundamental nature, my fundamental nature molded. And keep making comparison with things that you find easy to accept as being molded fundamental nature and saying it is just like this problem is just like that, molded fundamental nature. And let molded fundamental nature take on its spontaneous way of relating, that is compassion. This molded fundamental nature appearing as problem, it's not benefiting. This appearance is not benefiting me. And this appearance holds me back from being able to benefit others. It blocks compassion. It blocks love, which are spontaneous attributes of fundamental nature. And don't be angry at the problem, but rather see that it's not something that is benefiting you. There's no lesson that I'm learning here. There's no way this is helping me help someone else. There's no one who's being benefited from this. And just like that appearance, that was an inspirational appearance, dissolved into light, dissolved into space. Make this problem, let it dissolve. Don't be afraid. You're not hiding from it. You're returning it to its fundamental nature. And just like you were doing snaps, staying in that space, when you feel the problem comes in, come back, dissolve it. Stay in the dissolution. You feel the problem comes back, dissolve it. Stay in the dissolution until the space of the dissolution gets longer and longer. Okay, let's arise from this meditation. Feel the space of meditation. Take a nice deep breath. Release. And feel reconnected again to your surroundings. Okay. Now, last thing to say about this meditation, and also the last thing to say. And then if you have questions, we'll go. And if not, then we'll close. One of the participants, or should I say, one of the agents that takes fundamental nature as in its fundamental and shapes it and molds it is conviction. And conviction is both conscious, but it's mostly unconscious. When a problem arises and we do this meditation, be aware of unconscious conviction holding on to the form. And the way to allow for unconscious conviction to let go of the form is to simply relax. And try to have a palpable experience of the absence. And telling yourself, reminding yourself, the absence isn't just nothing. It's not absolute nothing, but it is something more fundamental there, where spaciousness, light, and bliss are attributes. Okay. And you may find yourself suddenly, oh, that's how I solve this problem. That's how you may dissolve it. Or you may find yourself relating to it in a way, wait a minute, that thing is not it's not a problem that I thought it was. It continues to exist, but it's not causing you psychological damage. So these are the ways that it dissolves or self-liberates. And if you can go into a real deep meditation, powerful meditation, and you wake up and it's not there. But don't expect that is the only way that the only effect of the meditation. Okay. All right. Now we will dissolve and liberate you. If you don't have any questions, then we'll do our closing meditation the way we usually do it. But it will be faster this time. Your meditation out, meditated, never mind. Okay, all right, ready for ending? No questions? Okay.
I
All
guess
right.
I have a little bit of
Oh,
question.
yes. Let's see.
Last minute. I have a really hard time with visualization.
Uh-huh.
Sensation is very present for me, and sometimes sound.
Mhm.
How does like the dissolving of that work? Like it seems like conceptually easier for me to understand letting go of an image that I'm seeing in front of me and letting that dissolve. But how do I approach it when it's not
Mhm.
necessarily visual?
Yeah. So the term visualization is a misnomer, and it leads to misunderstanding. But rather, what you're trying to do is you're recreating an experience, and it could be visual, it could be just sound, or it could be just feeling. And whatever is your visualization, then that dissolves, that goes away. Okay. And it could be just the thought, the color red in my mind. I mean the words in the just those words, the color red. We're not really seeing the color red, but how I feel about the color red. And then that goes away. Okay. So it doesn't necessarily visualization, even though the word itself seems to imply you're seeing something, but as a meditation, it doesn't necessarily mean seeing something, but rather experiencing something.
Thank you.
Okay. All right. Gonna be a fast meditation. So fasten your seatbelts. Take a nice deep breath. Hold it. Release it. And as you release it, feel yourself going into the meditative space. The calm is becoming calmer or appearing. The pleasant is becoming more pleasant or appearing. The inner sensations are coming by themselves. Let them be. Feel the sense of self and feel how the different parts that make up the sense of self, how they are all self. When the left hand is in need, the right hand doesn't say, I'm going to help the left hand, but rather, I'm going to help myself. So keep that in mind. And feel this sangha in your physical space, in a circle. In the same way your left hand felt about the right hand, feel that for each other. Feel the readiness to help someone else, thinking the same way I'm helping myself, feeling the way I'm helping myself. And as this gets stronger and stronger, it molds the fundamental nature into a bright presence. And the bright presence becomes brighter and brighter. And as it gets brighter and brighter, it becomes bigger and bigger. As it becomes bigger and bigger, it it dissolves into itself everything that it touches. So this big sense of self is dissolving all of us, the environment, your neighborhood, your pets, your neighbors, everyone, the trees, the grass, the sky, everything is absorbed into it. And that sense we felt for the right hand over the left hand, we feel it towards the rivers, towards the ocean, towards the birds, towards the animals, towards the plants, towards the sky, towards the entire planet. And have a sense towards all of existence, however you can hold that. Feel the interbeingness of reality. Now that this is a realization within you, you don't need this appearance of a brightness absorbing everything. Now it begins to shrink in size. And as it shrinks in size, what it had absorbed is now released, but you still have that same feeling. You don't need the appearance anymore to feel oneness, to feel closeness, to feel interbeingness. And it becomes again a bright presence in the center of our circle. And it gives us a gift by dissolving into each one of our hearts. And we have this strong conviction. When I sincerely help myself, I help other. When I sincerely help other, I help myself, because interbeing is the reality. Right? So whatever gifts you may have received from your own innate authenticator, your own innate wisdom, whatever merit energy we have collected together, that we have fashioned out of our fundamental nature, let us share that using our own compassions. By the power of this merit, may such and such happen. Okay, get ready to come out of the meditation. Feel the meditative space, rejoice, take a nice deep breath, release it. And as you release it, deliberately, consciously reconnect with your immediate surroundings through a sense of touch. Feel the temperature, feel the clothing, feel your seat, hear the different sounds. Let your eyes take in light, noticing shapes, colors, lights, shadows. Right? Thank you very much, everyone. Until next time. Thank you.
Thank you.